Good morning. It's Leanne Peters here. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I'm here to pull some cards and share some guidance. For this week, I'm doing a temporary, well, the next couple of months, I'm doing the guidance for the week because I'm very tight for time as we prepare to open our own gallery and bricks and mortar store in towns with less than 7 weeks to go. So I am just tightening a few things up in my schedule, and one of those things, the card readings, are going to be happening weekly for the next couple of months into December, I'd say. Then hopefully we'll get back to the way it was before, or we will eventually anyway. So while you're coming on over, I want to send out a big extra special welcome to my Temple of Balance patrons for October, my Pillar of Light members, and all of those of you who support my work through my website. Thank you so much for your support. Your support helps me be able to keep being here, and I'm very grateful. I'm coming to you live now from Tasmania, Australia. It is Monday the 7th of October and the time is 8:57 a.m. We had a time change a couple of nights ago. So it's a little later than what it seems because we put our clocks forward. So if you're new to watching, welcome. What I'm going to be doing is using my combined Speed of Light Oracle cards with my Animal Kingdom Oracle, and I'll be using this combined deck of 110 cards to find the best cards that the majority of us need for the week ahead. So I trust you've been led here for a reason, and I trust that something shared supports you at this time. I do recommend that you take on board what does feel right and what does fit into your life easily, and let the rest go. Now, because I'm transitioning into weekly guidance for now, things are going to be just slightly different. So what I do recommend is that you come back and connect with the video throughout the week as you need to. And what I'll be doing, at least, I'm going to be taking a note mentally and probably in my journal of the theme card for the week and keep that in mind for the week. But I'm also going to pop back in at least once and halfway through the week, approximately, just to see how everything's lining up, see how things are going, and get my bearings for the days that are still to come. So it can be helpful doing that when we're looking at the longer days. Also, I'm going to pull the cards a little differently. So I'm not going to pull a single card for each day. I'm going to lay out 5 to 8 cards here beside me and do like a little mini reading for the actual week. So the week is going to be broken up probably into chunks, and there might be days that sort of combined, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or that sometimes the days may be individual. So I've noticed, and you may have noticed if you've watched the last few videos especially, that there are kind of pockets of trends that happen, little phases that we go throughout the week. So instead of previously when I'd break the week down into separate days, it will probably be more in the sort of general, energy for a short period, if that makes sense. Anyway, if it doesn't, we will figure it out as we go. Good morning, Ida from Wisconsin. Magenta's here. Welcome, Magenta. Valentina and Kathleen, hello. And Pamela's here as well. Welcome. So I recommend that you take on board what feels right, what resonates, and what fits into your life easily at this time, and let the rest go. Allow yourself to be surprised, and because we're looking at a bigger section or chunk of time, it might make a little less sense as it moves away from where we presently are. So the guidance for the weekend coming up, for example, may not make a lot of sense to us at the time, which is why it's good to check back in. So I'm shuffling the cards, and now I'm changing my intention to what I would usually do. And my intention now is that I want to find the best cards that the majority of us need for Monday the 7th of October through to Sunday the 13th of October 2024. And so I'm going to lay the cards out beside me, and the best cards for the majority of us from the 7th to the 13th of October are these. So just bear with me while I just lay these out. Okay, so I've laid them face down. We have 5 Animal Kingdom and 1 Speed of Light. And I'm going to start here. So this starts us off with the week, and we have the Emperor Moth. The Emperor Moth for well, I'll tell you when in a minute, but it's card 14. It says put things into order, and this feels like it's early in this particular week. So we might be looking at this Monday, maybe into Tuesday. We may even have been doing this over the weekend. So put things into order. This usually talks about paperwork, but it's not limited to paperwork. So there might be papers or things that we are stacking up and getting into order. It could feel like we're preparing for the end, but actually we're preparing for a new beginning. So it makes me feel like the things that we're tying up, or the things that we're preparing for, is us tying up some loose ends, perhaps from an old phase of our life or a previous chapter that we may be finalising now. So if you've got a stack of paperwork beside you, or somewhere that you've tucked away hiding because you don't want to look at it, if your taxes are calling, for example, then Monday especially may be a great day to feel the motivation or the energy or the incentive to get these papers sorted, or get this room sorted, or this cupboard sorted, or the vehicle sorted, or whatever needs to be sorted that's not really in order right now. So we can look at that too as something that's in chaos, something that's hovering, something that's got loose dangling ends around us that sort of is playing on our mind every now and then. For me, I like to deal with those things as soon as I can, because they takes up time and space in my mind. So I want that. This is why I don't procrastinate. I don't tend to procrastinate, because I'd prefer to just get it done, so it's not something I'm thinking about. Oh, I must do this. Oh, I must do this. Oh, I must do this, and do that for days or weeks or months. And sometimes people do it for years. So it takes up space and room in our mind. So if we can get the things done that need to be done, those tedious, mundane, annoying little things, then that will help free up our energy. It will also help us close that door and move our energy, or create space within us to move towards the new beginning, the next phase. So I'm now looking at the card that I feel like is for Tuesday, maybe also into Wednesday, and that's the Lamb. The Lamb is card 36, and it says embrace your youthful side. So once we clear up these loose ends, once we tie up those things, once we sort out the paperwork or whatever it is we're sorting out, once we do that, then we'll probably feel quite uplifted with more of a youthful, playful energy, because we have room now inside our head. So it's really helpful to get things out of our head and get things done if things need to be done. So there's something freeing about this, something playful, and this comes when things are tied up. So the gate has been closed on that, and we're now in the playground, playing and creating and perhaps having a bit of fun, which would be nice. So spring is in the air as well. So this is also a great lead on from the moth, because this shows the new beginnings in the air. The moth is us preparing for the new beginnings, and the lamb shows us that new beginnings are present. Spring is in the air. The winter is over. Well, it is for us in the south, mostly. Okay, so now we've got a chunk of 3 cards that I want to bring in, and we're going to look at this for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to look at these 3 together, so I haven't looked at them yet. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, around the middle of our week. We have the butterfly, the black panther, and the bear. So we're going to look at the butterfly first. So card 6, the butterfly from the Speed of Light Oracle cards. This is the only one. And it says heart, opening, freedom, passion, and action. So once we tie up our loose ends and we feel a bit more, a spark of life, a spark of newness, a spark of fun, we could say, we'll be called into action most likely. And this will likely happen around Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, probably on the earlier side of that. It could also be Tuesday for some of us if we go through the other things quicker. So if we can sort out our paperwork and get the loose ends tied up pretty quickly on Monday, then this energy will shift through quicker than for those of us that may procrastinate or may not be able to deal with the paperwork and the pending things until Tuesday or Wednesday. Then that will push all this energy back. So it will depend on how fast or how slow we sort out those dangling loose ends and get things into order. This is an action card. It's action from the heart. There is a dreamy energy to this card too. So this represents us, and we're sort of dreaming of other things, dreaming of new people, new lands, new places, new things, and puffed up too in the hair. So the mind is on board with this, at least for now. So this dreamy sort of state. There is action here though, and the action pulls from the heart. So we're being encouraged really to, pursue what needs to be pursued and trust in the flow of things that are pushing and propelling us forward, especially the propulsion that's coming from the heart. So we might feel quite a lot of heart pulling around these particular days, so around Wednesday really, but we can expand that depending on the speed of we do the other things. There's an opening feeling too here in the heart, and things definitely don't feel closed off. Let's put that aside, and we'll look at the Black Panther also for around this period, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's the 9th, 10th, 11th of October. And we have card 30, the Black Panther, who says to find acceptance. And acceptance, to me, and based on my experience personally and working with others, acceptance seems to be the key, or probably the major key to healing and actually getting over something. So whether it be loss or change or some sort of trauma or something that's happened in our life. If it's super recent, of course, it's usually too raw and too new to be able to easily find acceptance. But as time passes on a little bit and we get a bit of distance and space from what happened, it's a little easier to find acceptance. So it can be interesting to ask ourselves, especially if we're stuck in something, am I able to accept this situation that happened? And usually if we're not quite ready, there'll be an immediate rejection of no. But as we get further on in our healing journey, the reaction can become more of a, well, maybe I could find an acceptance with this. And it's hard. Finding acceptance is hard, but it seems to be that sort of closing of that chapter, closing of that book. It's like acceptance to me feels like the hard cover of the back of a book. And we go through all the pages of healing before we get to that point. But acceptance seems to be what sort of shuts that door in some ways. There might be something too that happens around the middle of the week, so middle to late of this working week, where we might need to find acceptance with what's being presented or what's happening. So there might be something that's sort of out of our hands that we might find it helpful to say, okay, well, how can I make this work? It's not the most ideal and may not really be what I want, but it seems to be what has to be. So how can I accept this and instead of fighting it? So that's also coming up. And then in this group of 3, we have the Bear. So the Bear is especially for later in the week. So we're looking at around Thursday, Friday, and this is card 43. And it says to move out of the rut. Out of the rut. We haven't had the Bear for quite a while. So this is showing that some of us may feel, especially later in the week, but maybe even now, we may feel like we're in a rut. And in a rut, to me, like being in a rut is being stagnant and stuck. So we could sort of add that to that energy. So anytime I feel like I'm in a rut, when I further kind of explore that, it usually also means I'm feeling stuck and stagnant. And the only reason we would tend to feel stuck and stagnant is if we're holding on to something and not letting the energy move. Because the energy always wants to move. Energy wants to be in flow, it wants to move. Even our emotions want to help guide us through motion and the movement and the flow of our life. So if we're avoiding a feeling, if we're petrified and scared of something, this is going to paralyze us and create this stuck or stagnant or rut-like energy. Another way we can sort of feel like we're in a rut is if we're in our comfort zone, and comfort zones are good. They're good for healing and rest and recovery and catching up on those sorts of things if we've had a really busy period. But our comfort zone can become our no growth zone, and it can become quite a stale and stuck and stagnant rut-like place. So if you've hung around in your comfort zone for too long, if you're just not really getting out and meeting people and you're feeling quite stuck and like life is a bit of a drag, then it may also be that you've been called to step out of your comfort zone just a little bit. And even just stepping out a little bit can feel like a lot when we're in that rut-like space, especially in regards to our comfort zone. So what is calling you out? What's calling you out of the rut, out of the hiding place, out of your hidey hole, out of your comfort zone? What's calling you out of that stuck or stagnant space? And what can you do to follow that calling? And that takes me back to the butterfly. You know, what can you do to follow that pull that you feel, to try something new, to meet some new people, to let go of your hold of whatever you've been holding on too tightly to that's not healing and not moving for you. And maybe it might be helpful to step outside. If you've anything like us, we've just had wind after wind. And it might be helpful to stand outside in the wind if you have wind blowing, and just imagine the wind blowing all that stuff that you feel stuck and stagnant in, that's holding you back, that's over your body. Imagine that blowing away and allowing yourself to give yourself permission to move forward. Now, part of the key to that may even be finding acceptance, because if we're avoiding our ability to accept something that's happened that we can't change, and the truth is it's happened, we might not like it. In fact, we probably won't like it if we're stuck in it. So finding acceptance is also a great way to be able to get that energy moving and keep ourselves moving. So let's be careful sort of later in the week that we're not holding ourselves stuck and stagnant in a space. Depression is a very heavy, stuck kind of energy too. So how can you get things moving? How can you put the effort in perhaps? Maybe there's something small you can do, like make your bed or make yourself some food. Something like that that can just help give you a slow incentive or slow movement, slow action to get that ball rolling again. You've got to start somewhere, and usually the first steps are the hardest. So I think we just need to watch that stuck, stagnant, rut-like energy, especially later in the week. But it could be earlier too, especially if we're not tying up loose ends. If we're procrastinating on the paperwork, then it's probably going to translate to that rut energy becoming even heavier later in the week. So if we can get those things that are hovering into order, freshen things up, get things moving, then that will help us keep going this week. So now I've got one card left for the weekend. So we're looking at Saturday the 12th, Sunday the 13th of October. And we have Animal Kingdom Oracle card. We have the Turtle card 45. And it says slow and steady. So this is a really great card that leads on from what I've already been talking about. And this is finding our steady pace. For some of us, it's going to be slow. Like, for example, if we're recovering from a surgery or an injury or something like that, then our recovery is slow. And we just need to try and be patient with ourselves while we move into that slow and steady pace and get ourselves back up again or moving again or whatever it might be. Some of us may be coming out of a rut. So we then find, how can we find this steady pace that may be slow compared to our usual pace? It may be fast. It doesn't matter how fast or slow it is. It's a steady pace. So over the weekend, let's find our steady pace. Let's keep going. This is the marathon. It's not the sprint. So we might find too, we need to be patient with ourselves as we move through at our steady pace. This is not hasty. This is not sudden. This is not spur of the moment. This is steady. So this is creating a steady routine. So if you struggle to get out of bed in the morning, perhaps making your bed each day as a steady, reliable little action that you're doing, that's a big deal for some of us. That might be the sort of the marathon that you journey. Some do like certain days of exercise or practicing gratitude. Day one of my daily gratitude. Day one of my exercise plan. You know, so day 1 becomes day 2, then before we know it, it's day 20, day 40. So this is this energy. It goes the distance. So what can you see that you need to set in regards to the distance for you, the time, the future ahead? That can just be small things that are doable, that can help set the pace for you, give you some incentive to keep going, perhaps, if that's what you need. So the turtle is for the weekend especially. But this is good guidance. See how the energy sort of overflows from one thing to the next? And it depends how much we procrastinate or not will depend on when these things are in effect. So see how you go as we go through the week. And I am going to pull a theme card. So if you just joined in and you missed my news before, because I'm really busy at the moment setting up our gallery and our bricks and mortar store. For the next couple of months, I plan on doing these readings weekly. It's not the most ideal because I do prefer to do them every couple of days, but I feel that this is better than having none. And this will just help. I'm just looking at where I can tighten up my time and find pockets of time with things. So I'm cutting back like social media time, and there are a few other things that I'm sort of cutting, reprioritizing, or just tightening a little bit just to help give me a little bit more time. So that's how it's going to be just for the near future. So I'll be back again next Monday. I am going to pull a theme card though, so don't go anywhere yet. I want to thank you firstly for joining me today. So if you have enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment. Please share if you're inspired to, and if you'd prefer to connect more privately, you're very welcome to send us an email or a message through our website. If you'd like to learn more about the cards that I've used today, my Animal Kingdom Oracle, and we had one appearance from the Speed of Light Oracle, you can learn more on my website. I have Temple of Balance, Tasmania. Well, Temple of Balance turns 20 in February, and we have some Tasmania events happening during February 2025. So if you would like to join me for that, have a look on my website and see if there's anything that speaks to you. What else have we got? You can learn more about what I do on my website. I've also got Card Reading Club coming up this week, and my online art class where we're tying up the chakra series. We're looking at the crown chakra this week. So if you'd like to join me for any of those or learn more about what I do, then please flow on over to my website at templeofbalance.com.au, and you can learn more about what I do and perhaps support my work if you're inspired to. So I'm looking now for the best theme card. So the theme card's going to help us bring all these days, which is this week, coming up together. Now this is the card that I will definitely be keeping in mind for the week. And as I said earlier at the beginning of this video, if you missed it, I also recommend that you pop back in throughout the week to reconnect with this reading, especially at least once, maybe later in the week like Thursday or Friday, and just see how things are fitting and get your bearings with things. So keep the theme card in mind for the week if you're inspired to. And the best card for the theme for the majority of us for Monday the 7th of October through till Sunday the 13th of October is this. So I've still got the other cards laid out. We're not going to get any doubles, which is fine. This is the Speed of Light Oracle card, or A, and it is a theme card, a featured card, sorry. It's a theme featured card. And that means it has further instructions right here, which say to split the deck and take the top card. So I just split, and we've got another Speed of Light, and we've got Floating. So we won't need any more cards. I can tuck those away. We've got two cards for our theme for this particular week. We have Crystal Beach and we have Floating. Now, floating on Crystal Beach sounds bloody nice, doesn't it? You know, some crystal water, calm, just floating there. That's what I imagine as these two cards come together. But anyway, we've got some serious stuff to do. We're looking at card 11. We'll look at these separately first, and then I'll look at their relationship. Card 11, Crystal Beach. It says decision, vision, pondering, clarity, and decide. So this suggests that there is a decision that we need to make this week. A decision to what? Maybe it could be connected, relating to these cards directly. A decision to get the paperwork into order. A decision to step out of the rut. A decision to find acceptance if we're ready to do that. A decision to go the distance and find some regular things to do that are incentives or little milestones that we can create on a daily or regular basis. There may be a bigger decision that we need to make that pops up this week that, as a theme card, it must be of significance because it's a theme for the whole week. So this is an important decision, and my thoughts are, because this is a theme for the week, that it may not be a light decision that we need to make. So there might be something that we're looking on for clarity on, that eventually or ultimately we need to make a decision about. So we might find it helpful to be in, if we are able to float at a beach or float in some water would be nice, but not all of us have that opportunity. If we're able to be near a body of water, it could be during a shower or a bath, or in the rain if you feel so inclined. But sometimes with this particular card, the clarity drops in about what the best decision is that we need to make around a body of water. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be, but I've seen that come up quite a lot for this card. So it might be worth pondering and thinking about and researching, asking questions, meditating, and figuring out which is the best path to take in regards to this particular decision. So a decision to be made, clarity to arrive. And it comes up with the floating card, card 12. So we have card 11 and 12. And it says spontaneous, calling, mental break, and escape. So this brings us spontaneity to the week. And we might find some spontaneous things happen that are kind of out of the blue, we would say here in Australia, that just sort of happened, it just seemed to occur, which can be good and can be not so good. It can be a bit of a challenge. So let's see how we go with that, some spontaneous things. Some of us also may need to take a break, especially if we're feeling on the verge of, or if we're actually feeling overwhelmed. When we slip into overwhelm, it's a sure sign that we need to take a break. So it could just be a drive somewhere. It could be going for a walk. It could be slipping into nature. It could be meeting with a friend or a family member for a chat in a scone or a cuppa or whatever you like to do. So taking a break, it doesn't have to be long. A short break can help give us a shift in perspective, so we come back refreshed mentally, so we can see this situation or see what needs to be done from a clearer place. And give ourselves a break. Because often when we think we've got like a list of things to do that's a mile long, when we actually stop and make the list, we might actually see we've only got half a dozen things, and then we wonder why we thought it was a mile long. Well, probably because we're feeling overwhelmed and stressed. So we might need to take a break. We might need to take a break near a body of water if that's something that we're able to do and called to do. So there's a decision that needs to be made, and we might need to have a mental break to decide and determine what the best course of action is moving forward. It feels to be like there's probably some heavy energy, especially mentally, that could potentially sweep in or hover around this particular week, because there is a hovering kind of feeling that we'll probably be wanting to overcome throughout the week with the weekly cards. So slipping away, taking a break and making some time to keep balanced as we go, that also may be quite helpful for us to help keep things moving. So we might hover in our lower mind, we might hover in negative thinking or a depressive energy throughout this week. So what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen, or be aware of it and then shift through it as best as we can? Find some strategies that can help us move out of that rut or that heavy, stagnant, stuck energy that we might find ourselves in, which does tend to be mental. And when it does occur, it tends to tangle up our emotions with it too. But it tends to be sourced around a mental energy. So let's keep going. Let's stay on top of things. Let's try not to procrastinate. Let's find some little things, some little incentives to help us keep going this week and trust in the decisions that we need to make as we go. So there are our cards for this week. Have a fantastic week. I look forward to connecting with our card reading club people on Thursday and my art class people on Friday. So if I don't see you there, hopefully you will have a fantastic week, and I'll see you again next Monday for our weekly guidance now, just temporarily while I go through this busy period. So thanks for understanding, and thanks for being here, and sending you lots of love from my heart to yours. Namaste.